Welcome, Jason. I'm so excited to have you on our channels as an interview. I'm Adam Rayberg from Adam's Apple Games, and today we have Jason Wright from Sovranti, and we're going to ask him some questions because he's doing some pretty awesome things. So, Jason, welcome to the interview.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We're super excited about all this stuff too. So
Love it. I'm a gamer. I'm in the industry. I'm a publisher, but I want to make this about you because you're doing something super cool. Okay, so
yep.
I want to help spread the word. So first off, what is Sovereignty and what does it bring to the board game industry that didn't exist before?
we kind of style ourselves or call ourselves a board game or a social board gaming service.
Okay.
The big thing for us was we thought the thing that was missing was the social aspects of board gaming, right? I mean, there's lots of other options, and I'm not going to say we're the first person to invent this, but we've taken it and focused on the social aspects. So voice chat built in, super ease of use, giving you kind of a virtual space that is yours within the application. So you know who's sitting to your left, you know who's sitting to your right. And really kind of trying to immerse you in that environment. It's kind of one of those things that's kind of missing right now is that interpersonal relationship or interactions, kind of especially with everything that's been going on for the last 6-9 months here. So it's super important, and it's resonating super well with the folks we've been showing it to so far.
Awesome. So you have a digital gaming platform. There's some games on it. I'm as a gamer,
Yep.
and an enthusiast. I'm definitely interested. How much does it cost? What does it cost for me to join or to buy Sovereignty? Like, what is that?
Sure. We are, right now it's open beta, so people can come in, can check us out. We are looking to do kind of an early access launch next month, and we're gonna get super aggressive for pricing. It'll be basically $2.99, right? $2.99 a month.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, for the founders, and if you're in, right? That's your price for
Wow.
life. So we're super excited. We're trying to make it about the same cost, although we're gonna be way below that to start with, as buying a game a year. And our hope is to get you in front of our catalog will keep growing and growing. Kind of think of us as kind of a Netflix for board games, right? We've got all kinds of board games. It's all you can eat, all you can consume. We don't hold anything back. But we'll also have a free tier as well. So we'll be cycling games through. There'll be a couple of games that are always available, and we just kind of rotate what's out there. So it kind of, accessibility and availability for lots of folks is really our goal.
So that's like one bus ride for me a month, and I'm not taking the bus right now, so I have plenty
Yeah,
bus rides to spare.
yeah,
That's pretty incredible. So where is it? Where can I find it? And where can I download it today?
yeah, absolutely. So sovereignty.com, sovranti.com. There's a install button on the top. We're available for Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android devices. So that's kind of the other really nice thing. It's play with what you got. There's no
Super cool.
having to go out and get something fancy. We're running on, all the deals running right now, especially coming up with Black Friday. There's all kinds of devices that we work on that are way under $100. So it's pretty much what you've already got sitting in your living room or on your end table. So
So you're saying I don't need to go out and build a new gaming rig or a high-end device or
nope,
grab the next best tablet on the market.
nope, nope. It certainly works on all those, but yeah, we actually demo, and when we used to take our show on the road early
Yeah.
on, we were using basically $75 tablets. So basically the stuff you set in front of your kids to say you need to, the little babysitters in the corner. But yeah, just all those things work great. So, and it's super intuitive. Everything's been designed, kind of mobile first. So it was designed with that in mind. And that's probably another one of our big differentiators. Mobile wasn't an add-on later. It was really designed from the ground up with mobile as a center point, but it translates wonderfully into the PC world.
So you can game straight from your pocket and your computer and your tablet and
Got it.
pretty much anywhere you want to these days. That's incredible.
Yep.
You're gonna make me think about playing a board game like wherever I'm in my house, right? I could be
Yep.
on the exercise bike. I could be watching Netflix and also gaming now.
And I'm trying to figure out, that could be interesting if we somehow get the fitness board gaming group together where you all have to be on the elliptical or something. So, yeah.
They do it in some of those ESPN leagues, I think, where
Sure.
like you're playing like fantasy sports or something, and you'll play against each other and exercise. So I think it
Yeah,
kind of
awesome.
really works the brain even more.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking of Netflix. I'm a huge fan of streaming videos and TV shows, as I'm sure everyone is these days, right?
Yep.
How does the platform though, Sovereignty, cater to different audiences or different groups, right? Like I might have my child watching, I might be watching, I might have my parents watching. How does it cater to them?
Yeah, it's kind of same thing, and we do that mostly through the title choices, right? And so we are certainly curating that group of titles. We had we've definitely got stuff that for the hardcore gamers, the board game enthusiasts, we'll definitely be growing the library a lot in that in those aspects. Planet Unknown's obviously a big one for us in that arena. It's been one that everyone is just kind of they're loving. But we also kind of run the gambit. It's everything from that to lighter games. We've got or gateway games, right? Sushi Go Party is a great one.
Oh, awesome.
So and then just even some of the just straight up card games. So what's been interesting for us is we've had lots of folks that hey, during this time of we're trying to figure out ways to interact with friends and family that aren't in our in our location. So we've we've been able to set our application in front of parents and grandparents, and it's not this daunting. I have no idea how to start. Everything in our game gives you kind of cues and tells you exactly what's expected of you next, and we highlight everything. So you literally can go through an entire game with knowing none of the rules, but you can
Wow.
play a game start to finish. So where that's really important is, again, back to kind of that parents, grandparents are playing games with their kids and grandkids on our platform. And so, they might start out by playing hearts, right?
Sure.
The next thing you know, they're comfortable with the interface after about a game or two. And suddenly they're playing Sushi Go Party, or kind of opening them up. So it really is turning into kind of a gateway experience for them. So you're kind of taking that group from, traditional card games into kind of gateway games. And we'll see how far they work on that spectrum, but we'll have a little bit of something for everyone.
And I'm sure that it'll be fun to explore, to say, hey, like this game was added, or I haven't heard of this game, but let's check it
Yep.
out. Like it's got to be
Yep.
fun, especially if you said you don't have to learn the rules ahead of time. It's going to basically teach you the game.
Yeah. That's a big part of what back to social first. I want you to get in, have the social interactions. I don't want to get in the way with the first thing we do is we spend an hour poring over the rules. Then we spend another hour arguing about the rules, right?
What did that actually mean? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We spend a ton of time, as you're well aware. We pour over the rules, and it's all got to. At the end of the day, take all the rules, take all the erratas, and we've put that into the game, and so there's no guesswork, right? And we'll still have down the road. We'll certainly be adding some options to mess around with certain house rules and things like that people like, hey, I really like this version, or we do this as our own thing. And we'll definitely be polling the community and kind of asking which of those items they'd like to see in certain games
Oh, cool.
and go from there. Yeah.
Have you ever done something where the game was created in the board gaming world, but then you've made a change in the digital space to help facilitate something a little better, or maybe add something that didn't exist?
So we've started to kind of do digital enhancements, right? So
Oh, cool.
things like we've got one of the old game back in the 60s that we've got on a platform, or was originally published in the 60s, was Nuclear War. And so as you're playing and kind of friendly game of chucking nukes at each other, right?
Yeah.
We've done little mushroom clouds and things like that to kind of
Nice.
enhance the experience. So it's a digital platform. There's lots of things we could do. As things happen, we're able to use kind of visual effects and things like that. One of the other things that a lot of the game designers have liked, and you're probably well aware of this, there's lots of decisions you make when you're boxing up that game. Hey, I really didn't want this component to be limited, but I can't have unlimited of
Oh,
this.
sure. Yeah.
So we talk to the designers and the publishers, whoever's kind of our intermediary for that, and kind of go, were there any decisions that were made that weren't what you ultimately wanted for the game, or things that shouldn't have been limited? And then we just don't limit them, or other concessions you made that you didn't want to, and you feel like it'd be a better game if you did this. So we definitely talk those things over and enhance and try and bring that vision of the a designer had in mind.
So being digital, the possibilities are sort of endless, right?
Obviously, it doesn't matter if you need 2 dice or 400 dice.
Sure.
That's really immaterial for us. So yeah.
That's awesome. So okay, so let's talk about the games because we've talked about the platform a little bit. How did you decide which games to pick, and how do you decide to do that going forward?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier on, we're trying to, I've got this giant matrix of, hey, here's the different groups we're, I won't say catering to, but these are the different groups we want to make sure have, lots of things to do, or we've hit, as we grow the library up, what things are missing, right? So
Sure.
right now we don't have any co-ops. So right now we're working on Forbidden Desert. So
Oh,
it'll be our first
cool.
co-op.
That's awesome. Forbidden Desert, that's a big one.
Yeah, no, we're super excited about that one. Hopefully we'll, people start to see that next month, start messing around with that. So we've got, there's those types, or hey, we need a bunch of solos. So we've got, probably not probably, the first solo will be the solo version of Planet Unknown. We've got
Super
two or three
cool.
other games that also have solo modes that will be implemented as well. So while we want to be social, they're still like, hey, I'm waiting for my buddies to get on, or I just have X amount of time.
And
Uh,
sometimes you just want to learn it and try some different
you
strategies,
got it.
right? Like, hey,
Got it.
in
Yep.
between gaming with the social group, I can optimize and I can really figure out how to get ahead for the next time we meet.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you'll find
but
out.
I want to make sure you get your fix in. So I mean, but so we keep looking at things that are missing, right? Hey, we need more lighter gateway games. Nope, we need more. Back to hey, I'm playing with my parents and grandparents, and I've got 31 and Hearts. Hey, the games they know and play with, that they're familiar with and are comfortable with are Pinnacle or Euchre or things like that. So we'll definitely be adding more of that, so they have more options, and hopefully again those become ultimately gateway games into, like I said, Forbidden Deserts, Tsushima Party, things where it's cooperative and they can play, with their kids and grandkids, and or just even, obviously those are beloved titles. So we certainly are looking at all the tried and true games. We try and do a mix of, as we're going out, I'm super conscious of, I'm trying to do something that's kind of this tried and true, something old, something new, right?
Oh, cool.
Things that
Yeah.
have stood the test of time versus stuff that's new and hot, right? As part of the hotness train or whatever it is,
I think
Planet
that's
Home
really
certainly.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, I know the things that have been there and have been on the shelf for a long time and keep coming back onto your table, those are super important for us because we know that they are. But again, back to making sure there's a really good value proposition. If we can get, a dozen, 20 different games that you haven't seen uh, before, or a certain, that's the number of brand new games that, you're trying to figure out what you want to play or just get introduced to these games. Obviously, there's so many titles and really good titles now coming out every year. It's super hard to see them all. I mean, you can talk to the big reviewers, and they're like, "Yeah, we get to like this many games." It's like a
The
fraction of what shows
the
up.
pile of shame of like
Yep,
work to
you got it.
do.
You got
Yeah,
it.
I
So
can't imagine.
yeah,
How long
so
have you been working on Sovereignty? It sounds like just a massive thing.
yeah, it's been a while. We're coming up on 4 years that we started the company, or had the idea about 4 years ago.
Wow.
There were just there were three of us that started up the company. Kind of made a leap of faith. We'd all been kind of threatening to work together for 20 odd years, and the stars kind of aligned. And we were all in a good spot in our careers that said, hey, let's give this a shot. So we spent about the first year though just proving that we could do it. Right, this wasn't our first art. We come from a heavy enterprise, high scalable enterprise application software as a service. That's our background.
Oh, cool.
But have been long time board game enthusiasts, running board game night for 20 years now on every Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of depending on what's going on. So we've been doing that for a long time. So we spent about the first year just proving that we knew what we were doing, picking technologies, and then we spent another, I don't know, 6 to 9 months kind of doing a proof of concept, and kind of did our first game and got really good feedback from a couple of people we let play. It's a game that'll never, unfortunately, see the light of day. Well, it
Okay.
might at some point. So it was our own internal version of a game that's out there that we don't have the rights to.
Oh, that's
So
super funny.
yeah, so but we loved it and it was great. And so our internal group was like, this is fantastic. We gotta do it. So we proved that we could do it. And then this code base is about 2 years old.
Sure. Oh, wow.
So and about a year and a half ago, a little over a year ago, we kind of went from we started kind of ramping up the company. So it went from kind of the three of us to we've got about 14 people now full time.
Wow,
So,
that's incredible.
yeah,
What an awesome story in the board game industry.
yeah,
Like,
it's been awesome. We did not have I won't say I had a crystal ball, and yeah, COVID was not our in our mindset. We said, there's a real need for this, and that was before COVID.
it just makes it so much more
And
apparent.
now, yeah, lots of people are like, I kind of get it. Suddenly 6 months ago, now I really understand what you guys are talking about.
I
So,
have coworkers that, they kind of knew what I did a little bit, but weren't really interested. And now they're like, hey, Adam, we're a gaming family. What do you recommend? It's so funny.
and a lot of people have turned to that, right? If
Yeah.
you're got to find things to do, there's only so many things you can binge watch, right? So
Yeah.
you need a little
You
variety.
need a little time away from the TV every once in a while, too. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So do I need to show up with players to play a game, or how does that work? Can I find and meet players within the app?
Yeah, I mean that'll right now it's totally front. It's a little we're new. We've got every Tuesday night we get a bunch of people here. We kind of run our own game night. So absolutely Tuesday night 6 to 8 or 9 somewhere in that range. We go till Central Time. We get together out on the platform. We run games. So absolutely you can get. There's a whole bunch of tables that are running that night. And we'll have matchmaking services that'll be coming up. It's part of our
Cool.
roadmap. So that'll help with that. Right now, yeah, easiest, obviously, if you're going to play something at midnight on a Thursday, you probably want to bring your group right now.
Oh, sure.
But that'll change, obviously. When we go live and start to get kind of a critical mass on the thing, it'll get easier and easier. So
I love it. There's something about that kind of that pop-in game that's fun, but then there's something about the organized scheduled game that just is, like classic, right? Like bring the crew.
And I think we've got, and there's lots of things we're doing too. We've been kind of heavily investing and working with a bunch of groups to get a whole bunch of people that are willing to kind of train people, on the games, on sovereignty. You don't need it, but if you want kind of that leg up and someone to give you the 5 minute and play the first game for you, we're doing those kind of organized play too. So it doesn't have to be just Tuesday. You let us know. We're using the Envoy the Double Exposure group. We've got, how many is it? Like 25 heralds running around right now.
Wow.
And we're scaling that to 50 here before the end of the year. And so those people are just scheduling stuff. So if you're interested, there's more than enough people to get you a game and get you kind of doing what you want.
And learn the platform too, right? Like even just joining for the first time, like trying to figure out what's what. I mean, if you have someone there to help walk you through it for the first couple minutes, or that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a huge deal. And we actually have a large UI update coming out next month, which has really taken the last 9 months of kind of what we've been up to and letting people see it and all that kind of stuff, and taking all that input and hopefully making a much more streamlined and easy to use interface. But yeah, at the end of the day, it still takes a few minutes to get through it, and certainly someone standing there or virtually standing there helping you out is always helpful.
All right, so I got like 2 more burning questions that we got to get to. Sure. How do you think sovereignty changed the board game industry?
I think a big part of, again, it's the social experience. We've got a whole bunch of stuff, and we've got, some of the stuff we've got on our future is going to be around kind of parental controls and creating that safe space. I mean, at the end of the day, again, it's about the social experience. It's about feeling like I'm there. We've done this with games like, it was a little bit of an experiment. We thought it would work, but things, just straight up social deduction games, right? We've got Never Bring a Knife, all right, is a good example. We were like, let's see how it translates, right?
Sure.
What am I missing when I'm playing these bluffing games or games that I'm trying to deduce, and I would normally be reading body language or facial expressions or whatever, or people have all moved that into kind of, their voice and how they intone the intonation on their voice and what they're doing, and some people love it because I can't lie. You read it on me.
They can see through it.
But here, I suddenly, in some ways, I level the playing field, and actually, in some cases, you have people that had great poker faces that can't keep it out of their voice, and now you have people that couldn't keep it out of their physical movements. They're like, I've suddenly found a new way to play these things. So it's been really interesting to watch kind of that dynamic on how much fun and the back and forth people are having. So that ultimately, I think, is how we've changed the most. That and just how fast you can learn a game. It's been great. All of these kind of how-to videos have kind of become the norm, right? If you're trying to learn a game, the last thing I want to do is sit down in front of a manual, read it through, try and interpret all the nuances, then explain it to my friends, run them through that, right? We'll all sit down and watch, the how to play video. Well, if you can take that how to play video, there's still a thing, and that's fantastic. But now if you can condense that into, I can be playing while that first game through, I'm seeing all the rules and it's explained to me all the rules. And I can basically, in some cases, by the time I'd have finished the tutorial or that how-to video, I've already played a game. And so,
oh gosh.
Yeah, so, that's been awesome. I mean, the games play, definitely as fast, a lot of times a lot faster than their physical counterparts, right? No
Sure.
setup,
Yeah, yeah.
tear down. We take care of all the housekeeping.
Yeah.
We don't do anything that's not, we don't add up scores for you and give you a running total of what point total everyone has, unless that's designed as part of the game. So,
Gotcha.
we still go through, and I think that another big piece of that is, we give, visual cues. Or back to how do I play it through all the way through? Well, everything's gonna be highlighted in green. That's a kind of a free action to do. Everything's highlighted in yellow. That is perfectly valid action, but there's some cost to it. Maybe I got to pay a coin. Maybe I destroy something, something else, or just even something else happens as a result of it. We'll kind of let you know there's something special about that. And then red, I can't do it, things like that. So you literally can, play a game start to finish by just clicking on green and yellow things until it's done. And we actually did that for the first time with my dad on several months ago playing Sushi Go Party. He's like, I'm willing to try it. And by the second game, he understood what was going on, but
Sure.
He played through the first game, really understanding zero rules. I think we did about a 2-minute intro to it's a set collection. The stuff's on the bottom of the cards. I don't know. I got 8 points at the end of the game. Suddenly he's like in the mix, right, by game 2 and 3. So
you get that feedback loop going
Yep. Yep.
almost immediately, right? Where that really hits home to me as one of the teachers in my gaming group of like, I need to invest probably an hour of my time, maybe more, learning, punching, getting ready,
Yep.
setting up, and like
Yep.
that seems like it really just eliminates that, and everyone
Wow.
can just join in and play and experience it. And as the teacher too, you're oftentimes the most rules experienced at the table, and so you're kind of doing the rules policing at the same time as trying to have fun and play your own board as well. You play your own
Yep.
game. So
how many
That's
times have you gotten into
incredible.
the game and halfway through the game you do something, everyone's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that you could
you
do
can't do that.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Next game you'll figure it
Next
out.
game, practice game, right?
Yep.
So tell us about the moment you knew you had something special with Sovereignty.
I think it was actually Gen Con online this year.
Okay.
We had planned on kind of, showing everything to the world during Origins. Obviously, with everything going on and all the stuff that happened there, that didn't happen. And so kind of our first opportunity was Gen Con online. We ended up running about 50 or 60 events during that time. And I think we sold out 90+% of them. We got amazing feedback from everyone there. Kind of everyone got it kind of right away. People jumped in. There were a couple of quick questions, and then literally, a turn or two in, kind of it's what we were hoping for. Kind of the interface kind of melted away, and they were just playing. So I think we were going to take that to another step here with the new UI. But that's I think when we knew it. We had lots of people kind of saying, I felt like I was there. I felt like I was at the table. I could tell it, back to kind of, I know who's to the left of me. I know who's to the right of me, because I show those avatars and get your custom avatars.
Sure,
And I can look
yeah.
left and right. And even stuff, if you've got a nice enough, or headphones or nice enough setup, right, there's spatial audio in it. So the people that are your right, you come from your right ear and things like that. So
Oh, sure. That's cool.
there's all kinds of stuff for just that extra, added bit of immersion. But again, just trying to make that connection. So, but we kind of got a lot of validation. We have since then, kind of every con we've been to, and kind of as we've been showing it to people. That's, I think, when we really knew that it was kind of a lot of validation for us.
I love it. It reminds me of kind of that colored or invisible hand just moving pieces on the table. You're like, what's really going on here?
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
it's not an easy thing to learn, like to jump into and understand. It takes you a couple of turns or experiences. But I think with Sovereignty, you sit down and you feel like you're playing a board game right away, which is that to me that feels incredible.
Yeah, it was great. We had a lot of people, especially at Gen Con, they kind of, we had several folks that, once they were there, they kind of dropped the rest of their schedule and kind of just signed up with us.
That's
for a lot of the
fantastic.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can get games in. And some of the other platforms, it's hit or miss, right? Like it's people learning the ways, and this just teaches you
and
and
it's
guides you.
consistent. Yeah, and it's consistent. Once you know the interface, right, it translates to Planet Unknown, to Hearts, to Sushi Party. The interface is the same. We're not trying to reinvent the interface, which is great when you're doing an app, a specific app, right? If that's all you're focused on, you definitely want to maximize. So we spent a ton of time kind of going, how do we handle this across all games? And whereas the genre or the game mechanics or whatever, how does this interface work? And so it's really straightforward, and it's just tapping and clicking. It's not, yes, there's shortcuts and stuff for the, the power users and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, again, I want to go back to that lowest common, kind of comfort level of people who, I do very little in the digital realm. I certainly have never played board games in the digital realm, and I want to make this super simple. It's like, I'm just going to touch stuff on my phone, or click on things that are glowing, and things are going to happen. And I've got I've always got the message, at the top where we prompt you, right?
Oh, sure,
It's
yeah.
kind of, it's like, take, you've got 3 actions left.
It's your turn.
Things, right? It's your turn. Select 2 of this, or pick one of those, or what's expected of you. Or are you just waiting for Adam to play, right? So I tell you that. So yeah.
That's super cool. So last one's kind of an oddball, funny question. So I'll flash this on the screen, but the spelling of, or why did you choose the name Sovereignty? And I think what percentage of people pronounce it right when they see it?
I'll start with the second question first. I think it's right around 0% right the first time. And I guess that's on us if it's 0.
Incredible, actually.
Yeah, it's you'd think someone would luck into it, but no. And it's funny, and as soon as we say it's Sovereignty, everyone's like, oh, that makes way more sense. I'm like, yeah, okay. So we've done a bunch of stuff on dots and hyphens and trying to show pronunciations. I think we even had a couple of social media posts on the proper pronunciation. And but anyway, it's again, the whole point is to kind of master your own domain. So that's sovereign. That's kind of where it came from.
Very
as
cool.
far as how we pick the name, picking a name is super entertaining from the standpoint of you've got to pick something that you can get the domain names for, and all the other stuff, and all the the naming rights,
search
and
engine,
background stuff. You got it. So that was the first one. That's always entertaining because every time you come up with something, so has someone else.
It's a perfect name, and it's taken.
Yeah, we had a couple others that we, after we looked at and went, yeah, maybe that's not, it could be taken different ways. And like, well, it sounds great, but yeah, I don't know. So what we started with was, kind of this, we wanted you to kind of say, you are, I won't say we started right with the master own domain, but it was that kind of idea, that kernel. And then we had this other thing that, we wanted, we really want VR to be part of this experience at some point. And we actually had been running it in VR, and I think you saw early versions of us running fully in VR with stuff like Truck Off. And it works okay. The problem is the technology just isn't quite there yet for resolution, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, a big part of what we do is we use all of the artwork from the publishers, right? Exactly what they would send to the manufacturers, what we get. And so that becomes very problematic when you're trying to read a bunch of text on a card that's also at an angle and all sorts of stuff. So the resolution is not quite there, but we're ready for it when it is. So we had this little thing, well, hey, let's in case VR becomes a thing, we want kind of this VR in the middle of it. So there is a Sovereignty, there is a VR in the middle of it. You may never use it, but it's one of those things I couldn't go back to and try and be clever later on with the name. So that was kind of how it was. So it was a bunch of different things that kind of work together, and everything but how to pronounce it, apparently. So
well, it's always cool to hear the backstory. I always know, and I've come to learn that the name doesn't make the company or the experience. Sure. The company, the experience, and then people make the name, right? So it doesn't really matter what the name is. It's like you instill that, you create that that cool thing, and people like the name. People will learn the name, right? So. Yep. Cool. Well, thanks so much for your time. I think this is really a fun learning experience. I mean, I kind of knew a little bit about this going into it, playing a few games on the platform, but certainly, it's awesome to talk to, one of the powerhouses behind Sovereignty. So thanks so much for your time, Jason.
Oh, thanks a lot, Adam. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. See ya.